Hi everyone, welcome back. You know, I'm always curious to know about your TV tastes, so I asked you all which British sitcoms are your absolute favourites and which ones just rub you up the wrong way. And amidst all your brilliant suggestions, Duty Free popped up time and time again. This ITV classic, which ran from 1984 to 1986, was an absolute phenomenon with up to 18 million viewers each week. It was pure holiday escapism, packed with sun, sea, sangria and even a memorable Christmas special. So what was it about this Spanish holiday sitcom that had viewers tuning in their millions, while others just weren't convinced? Get your passport and boarding card ready. We're about to find out what people felt was right or very wrong with Duty Free. Duty Free aired from 1984 to 1986 with 22 episodes over 3 series and a concluding Christmas special. The show features 2 British couples, David and Amy Pearce and Robert and Linda Cochrane, who unexpectedly meet while on holiday at the same Spanish hotel in Marbella. Despite its exotic Spanish setting, only the final Christmas special incorporated location filming in Spain. Everything else was filmed in a Leeds studio. The studio environment was ideal for traditional studio audience sitcom, but for critics this lack of authentic location work might have been perceived as a limitation, potentially contributing to the show's dated feel or failure to fully immerse viewers in its holiday premise. It's very clear that they barely leave the hotel despite the fact that there must be a beautiful beach within a few minutes walk away. The azure Spanish sky is clearly an illuminated backdrop, mostly obscured by the hotel building and potted palms. Duty Free enjoyed major success, peaking at 18 million viewers a week and being widely regarded as a family favourite. It is often praised as a classic comedy that remains popular today, with many viewers revisiting it for nostalgic reasons and comparing it favourably to modern comedies. Despite its popularity, the show received strong criticism for being slow-paced, creaky and lacking genuine humour. Critics called it rubbish and claimed it had not aged well. Interestingly, critical disdain appeared to boost audience loyalty, revealing a clear divide between what critics and viewers value in television. Duty Free centres on the unfulfilled affair between David Pearce and Linda Cochrane, which never advances beyond minor flirtation. The show's humour relies on the ongoing lack of consummation, summed up by the phrase sun, sea, sangria, seduction and no sex please, we're British. This theme of frustration echoes the comedic style found in Carry On films. The show's adherence to a traditional style of bedroom farce influenced its reception in various ways. For some viewers, it offered family-friendly content with a familiar comedic approach consistent with the era. The use of subtle innuendo and unresolved situations provided humour that appealed to certain audiences, while for others, this approach was sometimes described as unrealistic or slow-paced by critics and viewers, indicating differences in comedic preferences that evolved over time. The Spanish hotel setting in Marbella served as the primary backdrop for the show's exploration of holiday escapism, allowing characters to indulge in desires and behaviours not typical of their home lives. It's distinctive because series 1 and 2 unfolded during the same 2 weeks long holiday, leading to the show being colloquially known as the holiday that never ends. This prolonged time span amplified the sense of escapist fantasy, positioning the show as an enjoyable piece of holiday escapism for its audience. While this holiday setting initially offered a liberating escape for the characters and a comforting fantasy for viewers, it could simultaneously generate a feeling of narrative stagnation or boredom for others. Critics seeking character evolution or plot progression felt this contributed to its lack of dynamism. The show's humour and appeal largely stemmed from the class-related tension between the 2 couples, the working-class Pearces from Northampton and the middle-class affluent Cochranes from Henley-on-Thames. David Pearce's discomfort with his social standing and efforts to emulate the Cochranes, often to Amy's annoyance, provided ongoing comedic material. illustrating a typical working class man's pride in trying to match wealthier peers. The show's depiction of class tension struck a chord with viewers who related to David's ambitions and insecurities, while humour arose from class differences, like David hiding his lack of travel experience. Critics argued this sometimes relied on stereotypes or outdated views. Opinions diverged over whether the show offered nuanced social insight or simply fell back on broad simplistic jokes. Duty Free frequently employed national stereotypes as a sort of humour. Robert Cochrane, for instance, was characterised as a comic, stereotypical Englishman abroad, constantly unimpressed by travel outside of the UK and always unhappy to meet foreigners, being particularly wary of what the Germans think. Similarly, the hotel waiter Carlos often served as comedy foreigner figure. For many in the audience, those portrayals were part of the show's silly fun and typical British humour, contributing to its memorable qualities. These elements sparked criticism for the use of national stereotypes, with characters like Carlos being labelled as having embarrassing comedy foreigner roots. Similar patterns appear in British sitcoms such as Hello Hello, which has been criticised for racial, gender and sexual stereotypes, as well as portrayal of the French experience in World War II. What was once accepted humour is now often seen as outdated and problematic, highlighting how comedy tastes and social standards have evolved over time among critics and audiences alike. The cast of Duty Free received constant praise for their brilliant performances and for being acted to perfection. Gwen Taylor in particular was highlighted for her quick, witty put-downs and recognised for stealing every scene. The Spanish waiter Carlos was also noted as worthy of praise for his portrayal as a character often bemused and confused by the carryings-on around him. This consistent praise for the acting played a key role in the show's appeal, helping to offset any weaknesses in writing or premise. The cast's talent, comedic timing and chemistry added enough value to engage audiences, even if critics were less impressed. Duty Free is often characterised as a farce for the 80s, relying heavily on improbable and exaggerated events, physical comedy and sexual innuendo, and absurd situations to drive its plot rather than character development. The show's frequent use of innuendo led some viewers to see it as a light-hearted family entertainment, while others, especially today, find such humour outdated or offensive. This underscores that the comedic impact of innuendo depends on cultural and historical context, with changing standards and turning once harmless jokes into sources of criticism for modern audiences. Some viewers reflecting on the show years later acknowledge that if watched in the present it would feel very dated and is not funny now, concluded it was not up there as a timeless classic. Others conceded that some comebacks were a little dated. For many viewers, the show's dated quality is part of its charm, serving as a nostalgic link to past memories, while critics see its outdated humour as a weakness. Some fans appreciate it as a comforting reminder of earlier times. This highlights how nostalgia shapes audience reception, dividing opinions. What is obsolete for some is cherished by others. Critics explicitly pointed to a lack of significant character development throughout the series, noting that sitcom participants often remain static, being essentially trapped by their surroundings. This observation aligns with the general characteristics of static characters in comedic formats, where their personalities and traits remain consistent. David Pearce's character, for example, despite his attempts to change his social outlook, frequently reverted back to his characteristic embarrassing dad style. The lack of significant character development served as both a strength and a weakness. While audiences enjoyed the familiar humour and predictability of figures like David, critics and some viewers saw the lack of growth as stagnation and a missed chance for deeper storytelling. Opinions differ based on whether consistency or character development is valued more. Mind you, Series 1 and 2 only take place over a 2-week period. How much can a character develop in 2 weeks? despite the critical dismissal it faced during its original run, Duty Free remains fondly remembered by a generation of viewers, with mainly citing it as a cherished comedy series from their past. However, others found its unresolved prudishness frustrated and outdated given changing social standards. Similarly, the prolonged holiday setting offered a comforting escapist fantasy for audiences, yet this same extended and unchanging backdrop led critics to perceive narrative stagnation and a lack of character development. The show's depiction of class and national stereotypes drew mixed reactions. Some viewers appreciated the comedic tension between the Pierces and Cochrans, while critics found these portrayals outdated or offensive, signalling changing comedic standards. So Duty Free holds a fascinating and often debated spot in British television history. The fact that it's still being repeated on channels like That's TV and constantly pops up in discussions about 80s comedy really speaks to the lasting cultural relevance. Its true legacy probably isn't about universal artistic merit, but more about the powerful nostalgia and personal connection it holds for many viewers. It's a fascinating example of how our own experiences can create such a huge gap between popular appeal and critical opinion. Well, I hope you enjoyed our sunny excursion into the world of Duty Free. Now I'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this classic holiday sitcom? Let me know in the comments below, and if you had fun with this video, please go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe for more sitcom stories and trivia. Thanks so much for watching.